taken from you. Today, we're going to talk about it on Coach's Corner. Hey friends, welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Robert Imbriali. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be here, excited to share with you some ideas, some thoughts, and some things to clarify and help you thrive during these challenging times. And we all know things are not calm out there. I'm not going to go over it. You know what's going on. You've heard the stories. You've probably been to the gas pump recently or the grocery store, and you know things are not calm. So a lot of questions that keep coming up from clients and friends and family is, what can we do when, things are going crazy and you don't know what you're going to, have left at the end of it all? Like, for instance, if you think of the stock market, that's a great example, right? Stock market, a lot of people are invested in stocks and they have, a lot of their retirement fund in there, mutual funds, and they might have shares directly with companies, whatever. And you might say, well, what if the stock market crashes? Yesterday, it crashed over 1,000 points, right? That's a big drop. It's like 10% of the market. Well, not quite 10%, but we're getting close to those kind of numbers, which are scary numbers. And you might say, okay, so if that goes, then, what happens to my investments? Where does my portfolio go? Where do things end up when, you can't control it anymore? And one of the things that I'm going to share with you today, or actually quite a few things I'm going to share with you today, I think they're really important to pay attention to, is there's an asset that every one of us has, and actually many assets that we have that can never be taken from us. So the idea being, well, listen, if your house gets taken away, or if there's no food, and the work that you normally do is not there, your job goes away, your investment portfolio crashes, right? Gold has no more value, silver has no more value. What's the one asset that nobody can take away from you? And it's a good conversation to have, especially in this time, because, with everything that's going on, people are really concerned now. And they're saying, well, if the economy goes the way it looks like it's going to go, and I'm one who I pay a lot of attention to this, so I'm really well versed in it. And I'm always looking for, okay, I know the current situation, right? And what I'm always looking for is the how are we going to get out of it? Where is the sign that says there's a plan to get us out of it? And right now, there isn't one, which is scary for a lot of people, me included, and everyone included here, feels that way. If we don't have the how, we don't know how we're going to get out of it. What makes you think we're going to get past this? Well, we're going to have faith at this point, because there's nothing visible on the horizon that says we're going to break through and come out the other side okay. Well, that's scary for a lot of people because it is a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of uncertainty coming up with all of it right now. I know I'm getting it. I get clients calling me and emailing me and texting me and wanting to speak with me about it and just basically calm them down a little bit, because there's so much going on, and the challenge right now is coming at us from all different angles, right? So you've got healthcare issues, you've got economic issues, you've got a lot of divisive issues that are pulling families apart. Literally, people who were friends for years no longer speaking to each other. So we're being torn apart by a lot of different ways. And, you're looking at it and you're saying, well, how do I navigate all of this? And the one thing you should really be keeping an eye on is what you can do to know that you're going to be okay. Put yourself in a mind space that you're going to be okay. And the asset that you will always have that nobody can ever take from you, right? This is a big one. It's a writer downer. It's the knowledge that you've gained along the way, the knowledge, the experience, the skills, those three things. My entire coaching career is built on that, by the way. My purpose for being is to use my skills, knowledge, and experience. There are those three things: skills, knowledge, and experience to help myself and help other people succeed. And I've been doing that for a better part of the last 30 years now, because I know those skills, those things cannot be taken away. Unless they get bucked in the head and, it can't function anymore. That's a different story. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, just generally speaking, if everything goes to hell in a handbasket, we have skills, we have knowledge, we have experience, right? Some of us, our skills are so specialized that we're worth a lot on the market. Well, if everything goes and crashes, you might say, well, who's going to need that skill anymore? You may be right about that. But I don't think it's going to be for very long. I think at some point, we're going to need you back in the marketplace with that skill set. So we've acquired all this knowledge, we've acquired all these skills, we have a lot of experience over the years. Some of us, we have more experience than others. Some of us have more knowledge than others. Some of us have more skills or different skills. The reality is, if we're going to put society back together, we're going to need a lot of different pieces, right? It's not just one or two pieces. When the sobering moment comes, when we recognize, wow, we've been played, this whole thing has collapsed, and now we've got to rebuild it, you're going to be in demand. And at that point, your skills, knowledge, and experience is going to come in as a valuable asset for you. So I was thinking about this today. I was driving. I was thinking about this, like, wow, what are some of the skills that, what if nobody's hiring coaches anymore? What if, we get to a point where the economy is so bummed out that, nobody's able to hire anybody and nobody can spend any money and everyone's broke? And I thought, well, at the very basic level, I've got skills that are sellable, that could bring in enough to have a meal, right? Not about making millions, but enough to eat, right? Something as simple as, well, could I change a tire? Yeah. How many of you could change a tire, right? That's a skill. That's something you know how to do. Granted, you're not going to get rich doing it. Could you mow somebody's lawn? Could you shovel their walkway? Could you, fix a hole in their wall? Could you, fix an outlet that's not working? We've got all these skills, and if we take a moment and just do a little inventory, just a mental inventory, no need to write it down, just a mental inventory of all the things you know how to do. The list for me is a mile long, literally. It's a mile long. I've got skills in every area that I've ever been involved in or played in. I've got so many skills. I'm very gifted that way. And sometimes it's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's hard to figure out which one to use first. But I think what it gives me is a certain confidence or a certain calmness that no matter what goes on in society, no matter where this all ends up, no matter how it tumbles and crashes and burns, I will be able to find a way to bring in money. Like I said, it may not be millions, it may be $10, but $10 may be enough to buy food for the day. You know what I mean? So at its absolute worst, I have a very confident feeling that I could survive. And I want you to have that feeling too, because it's going to help you navigate everything that's going on right now, because it's freaking a lot of people out. And rightly so. If you're really paying attention, if you're just watching mainstream media, you don't know what's going on. But if you were really paying attention and you know what's happening, there is no good news on the horizon that is really worth talking about at this moment. There's a few things here and there, but the bigger stories are the bigger stories that we're not headed for a good place. And we know it's going to get tougher. We've been talking about this now for at least a year and a half, maybe even closer to 2 years, that we're going to have this period of time where things are going to compress and get really, really difficult. And it has to kind of go there, right? It's a little bit like the basketball player. You want to throw that basketball up, but before he does that, he has to what? He has to crouch down. So we're in the crouching down now phase. So we're going to crouch and we're going to get to the maximum crouch, right? Where you're all the way down at the floor so that we can jump back up with a lot of pressure and a lot of power and be able to knock that ball into that basket no matter how far away it is. And I think we're there right now. And I think we've got to understand that, the compression's getting tighter and tighter. And as the days go on, we're going to see some things that we never thought we would see. And you have to find ways, and I've been teaching my clients this for many years, you have to find ways to find that strength within you. And a lot of people just need a plan. And like I said, the plan could be as simple as I can change a tire, I can mow a lawn, I could, clean a house, I could paint a house, I could, take a car for a car wash, or, there's little things that we can do that might not think, well, it's not valuable, but somebody who is elderly or disabled or, not willing to or has the money would pay someone to do these kinds of chores, right? I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I'm saying I can use that as a foundation to bring it all the way down and say, if it got as bad as it could possibly be, I'd still find a way, right? I'm resourceful. You're resourceful. You have skills, you have knowledge, you have experience. There are things you know how to do that other people don't know how to do. And what they need to do is they need to pay you to have it done, and they will gladly pay you. For instance, I get people pay me all the time for technical stuff. Little things like, hey, can you help me set up my email? I can do that in 10 minutes, right? It's no big deal. I can set up somebody's email, no problem. But for them, it could be half a day. So if they paid me a little bit of money to do it, it saves them half a day. We're in business. We can do it. So I want you to think about this right now in terms of the knowledge that you have. You should, and should all over yourself. You shouldn't be talking shoulds, right? One of the strategies I learned out of high school is I didn't want to learn anymore. I was so sick of it. I was so sick of learning because learning, I associated a lot of pain with it because I had to learn a lot of things that in high school I had zero interest in. So it was really hard to read some of the books that they assigned to us to read. College was no better. Got a little bit better, but not really that much better. So by the time I got out of school, I was like, I'm not interested in learning. Don't talk to me about learning. I want to know nothing about learning. Not a great idea, right? And it wasn't until I started getting involved in seminars and realized, bam, wow, there's this cool stuff. There's this great information and I really started learning at a very rapid pace. And I've never stopped. And every day I look for, what can I learn today? What can I learn today? I was on a webinar yesterday learning some stuff about video editing. I was, it's always something that I want to learn or dig a little bit deeper on. I want to improve my skills always, 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 so that, whatever comes up, I know I've got skills in a multiple of different areas that I can help people with. Now, good news for you is that we have YouTube and we have a lot of people creating courses, low cost, high cost, medium cost courses that you can learn a lot of skills. So if you're not finding yourself in a position where you're able to learn new things on a regular basis, it's easier now than it's ever been. We have all these tools. You should be attending, there's all these free webinars that pop up all the time. I'm always getting invited to them. I don't know, maybe I'm on a special list, but I don't think so. I think everyone's on these lists, so we're getting invited to these things. It's like, show up. And if you don't want to buy the sales thing at the end, don't buy it. But, there's content, there's information, and you could find, some valuable tools, some tips, some gems sometimes that can help you move forward. You got to be learning all the time. And it's a habit once you get into it. It's hard to get out of. And what I mean by learning is learn things that you have a lot of interest in, right? So it's not work. Like me learning about flying a drone, for instance, is not work. I could read books, I could watch videos, hours and hours and hours because I love it. It's a lot of fun. Or editing a website or editing video or anything to do with media, right? I'm real excited about that. I always have been. Or coaching, for instance. I really am passionate about coaching. So all the stuff that comes up about coaching and NLP and all the rest of this stuff, man, I dig into it because I'm excited about it and it's not work. So one of the tools you should be looking to build for yourself is always be learning. Always be learning something. So at the end of every day, you got to be able to say to yourself, here's what I learned today that I did not know yesterday. And if you just do that every day, a small thing, I don't go to bed before I learn something new every day. It's been a habit for many, many years now. If you do that every day, you might go back in your life, you might look and say, wow, a year ago I was here, now I'm here. 10 years ago I was here, but now I'm here. My skills are so much better, right? And as your skills improve and you get more and more skills to play with, you become a lot more valuable in the marketplace. So regardless of what happens, you're going to have options. What a lot of people are not going to have. Some people are not going to have options. The person who just learned how to flip a hamburger, that's not really that much of a skill, and that could be automated, right? That job could go away in a heartbeat. But the person who learned how to season the hamburger or learned a skill about, what kind of meat to use and learned how to cook it and learned it, there's a lot of skill involved in it, like a chef, a regular chef, that can't be replaced that easily. So that's a skill set. Take a very basic thing and add a few layers of complication to it, or find different ways of doing it that may save money, that might be quicker, that might be more efficient, or might produce a better result. You've got something that's valuable in the marketplace. So when I'm looking at the marketplace as a whole, it's slow right now. No question, it's slow. Will it pick up? Yeah, I have to believe it will. I have to believe at some point, we're going to get through whatever's going on right now and all the challenges we have. We're going to get through it. We're going to get to the other side. And there's going to be a need for you again. There's going to be a need for your skills, your knowledge, your experience to get back into that marketplace and, start selling that to people. Now, you think about a 9-to-5 job. What are you really doing in a 9-to-5 job, right? You're selling your skills. You're selling your knowledge. You're selling your experience to a company that has a need for what you have to offer. That's all you're doing. You're exchanging your time, your knowledge, your skills, your experience for, that paycheck. That's all we're looking to do. And we could do that at many different levels. You don't have to be employed by a company. You could do it freelance. You could do it on your own. So, the market has always allowed us a lot of, opportunity. And even if our government goes, God forbid it goes to a globalist government or a communist government, is what a lot of people are thinking. Even if it goes there, there's still going to be cash changing hands. And it may not be the cash you and I are used to today. It may be, I'll change your tire for, a quart of milk or, whatever it is. You may be able to be bartering it. It happens in every country, by the way. Bartering is very, very common around the world. But You can't do that if you don't have any assets. The biggest asset, the most powerful asset that you can have is your knowledge, your skills, and your experience, those three pieces. So right now, when things are slow, work on that. Work on that. Become stronger, become smarter, become more skillful at what you have to offer. This way, when things turn around, and they will eventually turn around, they always do. I always say this, we're in winter right now, and it's a bad winter, right? And I remember living in Canada and how bad some of the winters got there and how cold they got. But I always remember, no matter how much it snowed, no matter how much we had hail and sleet and high winds, no matter how many degrees below zero it was, 40 below zero, 50 below zero, it didn't matter. Because there was always that day that came along where the sun came out. And all of a sudden, the snow started to melt. And before you know it, you saw dirt, and bang, the tulips started to come up. Every year. Every year. There wasn't a year that didn't happen. There was not a year, and I spent 14 winters in Canada, there was not a year that snow was there all year round. Every year, amazingly. The sun came out, the tulips came up, the grass started to get green. So no matter how rough things seem right now, we're going to get there. We're going to get to the other side of this. I know we will. You just got to have faith that that's going to happen. We got to remain strong. I've been mentioning that for many, many episodes now of Coach's Corner. I've been saying you got to remain strong, be strong, be strong, be strong, because that's how we're going to get through this. We're not going to get through it with a lot of weak people. We're going to get through it when we're strongest. We got to be at our strongest to be able to get through it. And, now that things are a little slower, people said during the pandemic when all lockdowns happened, well, learn something, learn a new skill. Well, that still applies today. We're not at 100 miles an hour yet. We're probably, 40, 50 miles an hour right now. Still plenty of time to go learn something new. Improve your skill set. Be more valuable to the marketplace. The marketplace will turn around. It will come back. And when it does, you got to be ready. So this is an opportunity right now for you to take advantage of what's going on and say, hey, I've got an idea here. I think, and, correct me if I'm wrong, I think if I were to learn this or do that, that somebody would really pay me for it because they need this skill. You might say, well, I don't know what skills. You know what? Just start looking. One of the things is really great. We have social media today and you have groups. And I would go into groups of things that you're interested in and start paying attention to some of the posts and some of the issues that people have. And you say, could I learn how to solve those kinds of issues? Right? I do. Sometimes I use in the studio here, I use a program called Wirecast, and I'm switching back and forth. I've got a little stream deck here, and I switch back and forth between the two cameras. I got 3 cameras. I've got 4 cameras above, and I learned this software because I really like this stuff. I'm really passionate about it. And I go into the groups there on Wirecast, and I will answer questions sometimes that people might have. Some beginners who don't know how to use the software, I'll go in and just answer the question just for fun. Not looking to make any money off it, just for fun. It helps me improve my skills because I could think about problems in a different way. I've solved the problems I have in the studio here, right? So I've got everything working, everything's smooth. It's like clockwork here. But, could I improve that skill set if somebody else hired me and they have a different setup? That's what's kind of cool about that. I get the opportunity to do it. And I created a video on Wirecast, how to create multiple layers and how to create, a shot with the guest and the host and all that kind of thing. I created a little tutorial video, and I looked the other day and had 67,000 views. Now, I wish I had an affiliate link on there because I'd be making money with it. But, it's interesting because you can get these skills and you could test yourself. And we've got all these online tools right now, all these online courses and all these things you could learn and, improve your skill set. I'm always looking to grow. I'm always looking to expand. And I know that that's not everybody's cup of tea. But right now, I think it's a good time to do that because that's the asset that'll carry you forward. When we get to the other side of this, that's the asset you're going to step forward. You're going to hit the ground running when everything starts to come back online. It's not right now. It's still falling apart. We're going to get to the other side and it starts to come back online. You'll be able to hit the ground running because you'll already have the skill sets, the knowledge, and maybe even the experience that companies and other individuals, small businesses are going to need. And you can put that out there and you'll be very, very much in demand. All right. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up, give it a heart, give it a share. I really appreciate that. And I look forward to being back here again next week. Same time, same channel. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.